Cancer. This is your May 2022 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, then all my readings are general, but we are going to give you some key astrological dates and intuitive messages that I hope are going to be beneficial for you and support you as you move through the next few weeks. This is Romy, and thank you for tuning into the channel. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you enjoy the video, please do drop me a like and a comment, as it really supports the work that I do. So let's open up with the energy of the Ace of Wands, Cancer. Now, there's a sense this month for you that a new energy is really rising from within you, and I think you're a little bit unclear as to exactly what it's about and what you're supposed to do with it, but you know, you have this deep sort of sense that it is going to change everything. As you look around, I feel like there's this perception that the blind are leading the blind, and therefore there's a requirement for you to take back control and for you to be the one that works out a strategy that is going to build resiliency, self-sufficiency, and really enable you to trust and invest in yourself to a greater degree. The Ace of Wands is suggesting that there's new energy here to be harnessed, and even though there's a gap from where we are to where we want to be, we can see all of the growth. We've got all of these supportive energies coming in that are almost going to build a bridge and enable us to take that next step. The stag is also indicating that level of maturity and really the position that you now find yourself in. Now, one of the things that's going to be really supportive for you and interesting to work with is that Jupiter's going to be shifting out of Pisces into Aries this month. Now that lights up that 10th house. It's going to be giving you a little bit of a preview, Cancer, as to what's going to be coming down the line in 2023. Jupiter, of course, will be in Aries until October 28th before it dips back into Pisces. But in that placement of your career, the way that you make your mark in the world, there's something about the development of your own ideas, your own philosophy, and that's really, I think, being born from this, in some ways, exasperation and exhaustion, that as you look around, there's nothing that's quite fitting with how you see things or what you want or what you're looking for to help support you. So you're going to go off and create your own, you know, and I think May is a real beginning, initiation of that time, and sort of giving you the opportunity to start to dig deeper in this sense of belief in yourself. Now, through Taurus season, of course, we're going to be working with 11th house energy, which is illuminating your hopes and dreams, but also it talks about friendship and community and the way in which those relationships are supporting this movement forward. Now, the Page of Wands suggests that you're in a spirit where you want to connect, you're more keen to sort of see what you can learn from people, and perhaps revisiting your network, because we're also going to have Mercury retrograde in Gemini from the 10th of the month. Now, as we just move into the start of May, you've got all this fire energy supporting you. So I know you're getting really kind of geared up and you're feeling quite motivated. We talked last month, and there's still a little bit of that permeating around your energy, Cancer, about the fact that, you know, doubt is not going to open the doors, it's faith. And, you know, what we need to remember, I think, this month more than anything, especially when we're working in that 11th house arena, is that when you're offering help, when you're wanting to be available, wanting to be there for people, you need to ensure that what you're offering you actually have. Yeah. So what we're picking up here is there's a sense that, you know, there are finite amounts of your energy available, and that there's a shifting prioritization that's taking place. So if you're out there promising to friends, to family, to co-workers, to everybody that you meet in the street, here's what I can do for you, here's how I can help you, yes, I'll be there for you, in that really over-giving, generous way that you have, there's going to be a point through the month of May where you're going to end up feeling a little bit confused and a little bit restricted, because it's going to create an imbalanced energy exchange. So keep that in mind, that when you're in situations and you have that natural emotive response that says, I want to be there, I want to show up, I want to deliver and really offer my help and support, that's wonderful. But do you have it to give? You know, don't spread yourself too thin is sort of the feeling of what's coming through. Now, Venus is shifting into Aries at the beginning of the month on the 2nd. We then have some really auspicious astrological aspects between the 3rd and the 5th. So pay attention to that first week in May. Of course, you'll be dealing with the fallout still from the solar eclipse in Taurus, but we have Jupiter sextile to Pluto on the 3rd, and then the annual Sun conjunct Uranus on the 5th. Now, these both combined are delivering opportunities for some incredibly positive breakthroughs. The Seven of Cups here is suggestive that actually there's some choice that arrives, perhaps a little bit unexpectedly through some interesting conversations or people that end up walking into your path. That's the wonderful thing on 11th house. Your network is expanding. The way that you're using technology is also being lit up. Now remember, with the retrograde, you might be looking at tech upgrades, you might be looking at renewals of subscriptions or group things, or anything that you're doing online is kind of getting highlighted here. Now the Seven of Cups does suggest there's a little bit of uncertainty and confusion. We've still got that sense where we're trying to sort of pull ourselves down from a lot of that Piscean energy that had us connecting at very high vibrational frequencies into the body, you know, into that very physical, sensual feeling that Taurus delivers. And also with Aries being dominant in terms of the personal planets, you know, we have Jupiter shifting into Aries. We then have Mars coming into Aries, loves to be in that placement on the 24th. And so there's a requirement to start to embody, to integrate, to really understand that kind of the physical drivers and the desires that are coming through. And that's important because I feel you're at a point where if you continue to just keep consuming more information, you know, sort of stockpiling more things, more contacts, more acquaintance, and you're not actually doing anything with it, then there's a sense of you just starting to feel like, why was I doing this again? And why did I start this? And so just keep that in mind as well. I think if we can take the approach of sort of stripping back and keeping it simple this month, that's going to go a long way to actually reduce some of the burden and some of the overwhelm that you might be feeling in some instances. Now, the Ten of Wands is also indicative of what it takes. Remember, the Ace is showing you that actually there's the beginning of a new cycle. So that journey that you've just been on, the experience that you've brought to bear, you know, is really helping with a new strategy of, right, what am I going to do with this now? Because I know I can't keep doing it all myself, or I can't keep kind of continuing to do something that's bringing some sort of imbalance into my life. And that's going to be very important. Remember that retrograde in Mercury in Gemini is tending to sort of frazzle communication a little bit, and so sometimes we can end up again sort of through misreading the situation or others misreading us, end up sort of taking on more obligations. And this is the thing with you, I feel like you're in a position where you're about to bite off more that you can chew, or take on more than you should be, where there's other priorities. Little and often is going to work really well for you this month, Cancer. So keep that in mind as you come up against how you want to take care of yourself in your own routines, you know, how you're looking at nourishment, you know, what you're wanting to plan, and keeping things as light as possible is going to be beneficial. I also think it's important to say spread the risk. So again, you know, we have this lunar eclipse coming up in Scorpio on the 15th of the month, 25 degrees. Now, it has some positive aspects with Pluto, Mars and Neptune, meaning that we're being guided in our release with faith, you know, this beautiful faith and this knowing that things have to change and transform. But this eclipse always brings the showdown between the sun and the moon, the masculine, the feminine energy, our inner and outer worlds, and it's really some of the most important energies that we work with. Now, depending on where it sits in your chart, you might feel this really powerfully, or it might just feel like a little bit of a bump in the road, but sudden news can definitely change everything. And of course, Scorpio rules that 8th house, although it actually illuminates your 5th, which means that anything going on with the family, particularly children, might be highlighted at this time. You might also be looking at creative projects and really thinking about ways in which to bring in a greater degree of sort of pleasure and play, and sort of, you know, it's like, what do I need to let go of so I can make more time and space for this in my life? But on the wider context, there definitely are these themes of sort of how we're using resources, how that is influencing us, And there's a sort of preparation energy that's going on. Remember, we're dealing with a lot of karmic contracts when we come into the sort of eclipse season. And with the Ten of Pentacles, there might be something going on with legacy, inheritance, taxes. You might be dealing with these kind of things in and around that energy of the full moon. But I also see you in a little bit of a frisky mood around that moon as well. So, if there are things going on relationship wise, and remember the old retrogrades always connect us and bring people back from the past. So there might be some temptation that's looming for some of you in regards to that area of your life, or even the opportunity to meet some really interesting characters. Scorpio tends to sort of draw those very magnetic people into our life, and an exploration of what feels a little taboo or a little bit out of our comfort zone is also coming through. Now, the Three of Pentacles is coming in because there is this, I think, directive for you this month, Cancer, of really kind of flexing up. And, where things are coming to a head, there's a desire to want to channel it into something really creative where you're going to be making meaningful progress, okay? I do just want to say, remember, when we get so busy trying to change ourselves, we're not always taking the time to accept ourselves. And you can get a really clear read often when you observe the relationships in your life and how easily you're able to accept others, where they are, the choices they're making, what they're doing, and how they're showing up or not for themselves. And so as you look at your judgment or your appreciation, just the observations that are surfacing, they will act as a bit of a mirror to say, well, how able am I in this moment to actually fully accept where I sit or how I'm coming across or expressing myself? And I think there's something really important about that during this time of deeper self-reflection as we come back into sort of the retrograde energies. Remember, Pluto shifted retrograde at the end of April, so you'll be feeling that strongly initially in those first few days. And, it does kind of readdress the connection and relationship to our personal power and those tendencies that we have been disowning or avoiding. And so, some of that shadow work is continuing to be very, very significant for you through the course of this month. But overall, I feel that what we're looking at is a requirement for you to put a little bit less pressure on yourself this month. And that also gives you opportunity to kind of revisit some of the details that you've missed. So I think that's going to be incredibly helpful, because Temperance says that we might make some adjustments here, and that could be in connection to agreements that you're making, or what you decided to commit to or prioritize. Of course, there's always a need to find a little bit of moderation when Temperance shows up. And again, beneath the Ten of Wands, the suggestion is that, what you've got going on is probably stretching you a little bit too far right now. And it might be frustrating because everything that you have, you might be enjoying, but it doesn't matter if there's still too much of it. Too much of a good thing is not necessarily the right thing for us. Now part of that is going to be supportive, because as I said, this is a month where we are going to be building resiliency, but the need to draw a line is going to be increasingly important. Now, in your favor, you also have the asteroid goddess Ceres shifting into your sign, Cancer, on the 15th of the month. And here, it's a beautiful placement for Ceres, and there's an awful lot of nourishment energy available to us, and we're really bonding and coming back to our roots and looking at the harvest in our life. And Ace of Cups, beautiful, and this need to take care of things, to take care of ourselves, to take care of the resources, making things go further. And again, part of this preparation energy, this self-sufficiency, all of these things really matter, and I think this is part of the new energy that's coming through for you as well. Now, we have the sun shifting into Gemini on the 20th, of course, coming into your 12th house. And if we want to get to a new level of devotion, of bringing in love in our lives in a way that, is lighting up, whether that be romantically or falling back in love with things that, you've had to discard or have sat by the wayside, there is a requirement there to allow some of the things to emerge from our subconscious and to let go and make space for the new. And sometimes during the eclipse season, these things can kind of happen fatedly and synchronistically and sort of be almost like taken out of our hands a little bit. Of course, we always have free will, but there are definitely those intersection points where, you know, the universe steps in and our soul contracts like pulled up. And, you know, if there's certain things that you're being, you know, supposed to be experiencing, you know, they can hit quite hard in those moments and feel a little bit destabilizing. So again, this requirement for you to remember that what you do, what you want, who you are, it's not necessarily for everybody, Cancer, and it doesn't need to be. So if there are people shifting, coming in and out of your life, if there are sudden endings, changes in relationships that are going on that are all influencing what you love, what you devote yourself to, then there's an opportunity really to kind of surrender and allow that to happen, because what it's going to do is create more space to explore yourself and to bring the right people in, because the Ace of Cups is saying we're on a brand new cycle now, brand new energy, brand new experiences. And if we're looking too far back into the past, then it can be problematic because we miss the details. And I don't want you to do that. So, you know, we also have Vesta shifting into Pisces, the asteroid goddess, and we are looking for that deeper sort of spiritual sustenance, but we have to be careful that we're not moving into kind of sacrifice mode and savior mode here. And with that Ten of Wands, there's a little bit of martyrdom that's showing up here. So just be aware in your language or how you feel like you have to be the one to take care of business. Now, 3 aces showing up this month for you. It's fantastic. The remembrance that the day that we plant the seeds is not the day that we eat the fruit, Cancer. So, you know, there might be a little bit of frustration that says, okay, I can feel like there's all this new energy coursing through me. These new things are showing up, new people are coming in, but I need it to move, and I need it to move fast. You know, it's hard sometimes to kind of comprehend the way that time is operating at the moment. It's in spirals, it's not linear, and so therefore there's moments where you feel like nothing is going on and there's a sort of slowing down, and yet, you know, a couple of days, a week later, you actually see the quantum leap or the progress that's happened, and it's going to be a little bit like that through the course of May. So again, try not to get frustrated, but that Ace of Swords is saying there's something that needs to be said, something that's coming to a head. And again, I feel like that's boundary connected, as in, you know, where your boundaries have been pushed, or you're looking at what the dynamic is that's playing out in terms of your close relationships and how that's influencing where you're spending and prioritizing your time and energy. But it's really clarifying for you. So even though it might be uncomfortable, even though you might hear things you don't want to, or even have to say things that are difficult for you to say, you are actually on the other side of that going to feel really relieved that you did, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, we're going to be working towards a second new moon in Gemini at the end of the month. And here in your 12th house, there's also an opportunity. I mean, you've got a big release energy. All these new aces coming in are saying, like, we have to make space, we have to make way. So I think you've probably already been given a bit of a heads up, Cancer, of like kind of what needs to be cleared out, or the spring clean, the detoxification that kind of has to happen. And I feel like that door is already open and you've already manifested it. It's like you're standing right there. You're like, I knew this was going to show up. I knew it was coming. Here it is. Am I ready? The answer is yes. And May is one of these kind of really extraordinary sort of sliding doors moments, actually, where I think when you look back, you're going to be like, that was kind of incredible how things played out. So let's have a look and see how these oracle cards just want to join the conversation for you. The return, a new story, you decide, alignment, it's coming together. Well, just what we said, there is this feeling of a lot of things starting to come together for you. You need to keep an open mind. You need to keep communication channels open. Try as much as you can, even though eclipse energies can bring in that sensation of wanting to burn bridges. There is a feeling that somewhere down the line you might want to revisit something, you know, and you may even get a bit of a taste of that coming up through this month. So, you know, trying to keep a neutrality, or, you know, if necessary, withdraw, reassert boundaries. but to completely like push something out of your life, if you're not quite sure if it still has value, wouldn't necessarily be the right course of action. But I like the fact that what we're looking at here is a little bit of a new storyline emerging for you. And I think you are more than ready for that, more than ready for that. That Scorpio moon is going to help you to kind of tap into what is it that I truly desire and really sit with that energy. And it might feel a little bit uncomfortable because in the realization of what it is that you actually want, you're going to realize perhaps all of the things that you've been doing that haven't been supportive of that, or in an actual fact, maybe self-sabotaging it. You're also going to look at those individuals in your life very differently through the course of May. And so people who you'd had one particular view on, I feel are going to come up in your estimations. And I feel others who you'd entrusted or had a sense of loyalty or bonded to, I think you're ready to depart or move on from. So you might even be surprised yourself at the way in which some of these connections are sort of shifting and changing. Everything feels sort of quite mutable in that regard, especially toward the second half of the month as we shift into Gemini season. So let's have a look at your Moonology card here. New moon in Aries, go for it. Okay, well, this Aries energy we're working with, and here's some dates I just kind of want to call out for you, right? So 2nd of the month when Venus shifts into Aries. Definitely when Jupiter moves into the sign on the 10th of the month, and Mars on the 24th especially. You know, these are important dates to kind of pay attention, because there's going to be an impulse, a drive, a kind of really powerful, intuitive, like, I need to do this, I need to do it now. So really pay attention to what is showing up around those dates. I do feel you have a bit of a green light, although it might feel like it's a bit impulsive and you're kind of have to maybe just go ahead and do it, and then pick up the pieces of anything that sort of gets a little bit knocked over in the kind of process of that, because I feel like quite swift things happening and a requirement to just make an instantaneous decision. And remember what we said, if a lot of the energy this month for you is about learning to trust and sort of really fall back on your own guidance system, then, you know, there's nobody to answer to in regards to that. You're not part of that blind leading the blind, Cancer. You're kind of stepping into, you know, a different energetic space for yourself. So let's have a look and see at the color cards that want to emerge for you. Beautiful. You have orange, nurture yourself. Well, really connected into that sacral chakra, and of course with Scorpio lighting up that 5th house, the desire, the theme of desire is showing, but that's also bringing an awful lot of creative charge, and your creator energy is very powerful in this reading. You know, the Ace and the Page and the 3 of Pentacles showing up, and you can make significant gain, is what I want to say, in relation to your creativity, your ideas. And the more that you nurture and nourish yourself, the more you pour back into you, Ace of Cups, the better the balance is, the more you're able to take on, and the improvements that you start to see across the board. That's really important. Now, just a little heads up, my new Oracle deck, Life Soul Vision, is now available for pre-order. At the end of this video, I've done a little screen grab for you, so you can get an additional nice pick a card message if you want to check that out. And the links for looking at the full deck and ordering that are all in the description in the comment section underneath, so can't wait to start using that with you. This is a general reading, okay, for the month of May, Cancer. If you're new to the channel, we also do an extended version, and what I'm going to invite you to do right now is to consider a personal question that might not have come up in the main spread, okay? We are going to go ahead and pull you a couple of cards in specific relation to your own question. Now, you can find the links for the extended reading, again, in the description in the comments section underneath. It's a way to have another 20-25 minutes of insights into this month ahead in the reading that's come through, and a way to support my work, which I'm deeply grateful for. So let's go ahead and clarify this main reading. We're looking at the Ace of Wands right now, okay? Let's have a look. 2 of Wands, excellent. Queen of Swords. You're so focused this month. I like this energy for you. Knight of Wands. all this fire. More of this fresh energy to be working with, cycles beginning. You know, these eclipses, they always bring the really big hellos and the big goodbyes. Another Ace of Cups, Nine of Cups, Wheel of Fortune. All the decks that I use, Cancer, are also listed in the description box as well, okay? I know a lot of you ask me that each month. Four of Cups, another fire, Queen of Wands coming through here. You may have, you know, an Aries, Sagittarius, Leo that's really significant in the pathway through the course of this month for you. The Hierophant. Three of Cups. You know, Venus does shift into Taurus on the 28th, the end of May, and she loves to be in that position, and there just is a sense of sort of you know, some nice loving energies coming through. Kind of want to say you need to spoil yourself a little bit this month as well. I feel like that's going to go a long way to just helping you to keep going if you've got a lot on your plate or you're working through some really difficult, complex situations. A robin has just landed on the window ledge right outside my window, so I feel like I want to give you that little message for those of you that have a specific attachment to robins. It's right here with you all the way through this month, I think. Okay, another Ace of Swords coming up here. The Devil. Seven of Swords. You know what's really nice is that actually we get right to the heart of the matter with that Ace of Swords punctuating the Seven and the Devil. So, you know, not easy energies to work with, but we get clarity. Okay. So if you want to join me and hear more about what these cards are going to mean for you this month of May, please join me for the extended. Otherwise, I'm going to wish you beautiful blessings. Be sure to hang on and just do your screen grab for the new deck, Life Soul Vision, and have a gorgeous month of May. Thanks for being here and supporting me. I wish you well.